Hello, beautiful internet family. Dan here from DansTube.TV, and today I've got a really exciting video for my tech family. Now, a lot of people have been asking me about this, and they really wanted to see Litchi come out for iOS users. Now, it's already out for iOS users, but people wanted to know how the new integration of the Mini 2, the Mini SE, and the Air 2S were going to work with Litchi. And in this video, I'm specifically focusing on the Mini SE following mode for iOS users who are using the Litchi application. Now, the reason that I'm focusing on the following mode here is I just believe that it's a more impressive mode than the tracking mode. The tracking mode is more of an algorithm-based tracking mode that you have to draw a box around a subject. It's then focusing purely on, the background not changing drastically or the drone not losing line of sight of you. And if it does, then it's just not going to track you anymore, where the follower mode actually tracks you based on your mobile device GPS and the altitude sensors in it. So for me, I prefer this. You can drive behind a tree, you can run behind something, you can spin around and twirl in the air, and the drone will still track you, even though it may not have that line of sight of you because something's in the way. But because it's tracking the mobile device GPS, it honestly just tracks you through everything, which is really impressive. In this video, I wanted to showcase the following mode in a different way. A few people have commented saying they wanted to see something more, realistic, not just me walking around in a field. They wanted to see some actual movement. So I decided I would go down a secluded road and I would see how well the drone could track me or follow me while I'm driving my car. Now, I didn't want to go too fast because it's terrifying while the drone's following you using a third-party application, but I really wanted to test it properly. I really wanted to see how well the drone could follow me when I'm driving at a relatively fast pace. I may have got to 40 kilometers, maybe 50 kilometers at times, and the drone still tracked me for the most part through all of those scenarios I put it through. Now, before we get deeper into the following mode for the Mini SE, this video has been sponsored by the Fearless Drone Academy. It's the ultimate online drone course for beginners. It has everything you need as a beginner. It's got comprehensive insights, resources, and guidance for people who are just starting out. Maybe you've had a crash recently and you're terrified to fly again. Maybe you're a beginner and you really just don't know how to approach your first flight or your first couple of flights. Or maybe you know someone else who's really terrified of flying their drone, but they're excited at the same time. This course is perfect for all of those people. It gives you everything you need to be prepared for all situations when you're flying your drone. And if you do want to sign up right now, you can save 10% by using the discount code DANSTube. Moving back to Litchi's integration with the Mini SE for iOS users, this video here, I was actually using my iPhone XS Max. A few people have asked me what device I'm using. So it's not like a brand new iPhone necessarily. It's multiple years old now, but it does a great job. Just make sure that you actually check the App Store and the Play Store and also the Litchi website to make sure that the device you're using is compatible, and also to make sure that the drone you want to use it on is compatible. Now, if it is the Mini SE or the Mini 2, then you'll be perfectly fine for your iOS version. But I just want to make that clear because a few people have asked me that as well. In this test, I actually did lose connection with the drone once, which was terrifying, as you could imagine, but it was an empty road. It was very quiet on that day. I was in the middle of literally nowhere, and I really wanted to test this with my car just to show you some practical examples. Now, if you are to use the following mode, please don't go onto a main road. Please don't be using it in a built-up area. Make sure you're testing it thoroughly in a secluded spot where no one's around, because this is a third-party application and you do really need to be safe, especially when you're using something like a following mode. Also, keep in mind that there are no obstacle avoidance sensors on the Mini SE, so that means that you have literally no idea if the drone's about to hit something. So the most important thing you need to do is make sure that your height is set nice and high, well and truly above the tree lines, well and truly above anything that might get in the way. Power lines, tree lines, buildings. We shouldn't be flying near buildings, but you know what I mean. Power lines and tree lines. Make sure you're well and truly above those and the height is set at least to like 50 meters if you are really worried. I made sure that the antennas on the controller were facing the drone in the correct position, so there was more surface area actually pumping out those signals to the drone. So that's something that you should really be aware of. I've got other videos on the channel to make sure that you know how to actually use the antennas correctly. But this was something that was crucial, especially when I was in a car and I couldn't fully see what was going on. But I was really impressed. Like, I would drive maybe up to about 40, 50 kilometers an hour. I reckon I got to probably 50 was the max I got. And the drone did a fantastic job. Honestly, like such a fantastic job of keeping up with me. And I tested it in all different directions. So I tested it off to the left, the right, from the rear, and in the front. And it really did a great job. The only time the following mode became problematic was when you changed the direction that you were facing. Now, this was the same experience for the Mini SE as well as the Mini 2. Now, when I was testing the Mini 2 with my bike, I found the same thing. As I turned a corner, the drone would struggle to recalculate and recalibrate, and it would kind of swing around, and the camera would tilt down, and the movements were quite jerky and fast and awkward. But once it actually found itself again, everything was smooth. But I just found that that was when it became problematic. If you turned a corner, it would try to get back to that same position that you'd set up. So whether the heading was from the front or the left or the right or wherever it may be, the drone would just have a little bit of issue, I guess, or some problems trying to figure out exactly where to fly again. It was the exact same with the Mini SE in this video. I found that when I went around like a roundabout at the end of a cul-de-sac, it would just struggle a little bit. It would kind of get a little bit confused and it would have to swing back around and figure out exactly where it is. Like in this example here with the Mini SE, it really did follow me perfectly. Besides those movements when I'd go around a corner, it did exactly what I expected it to do. And the footage looks great. You can see how smooth it is. You can see that it's keeping everything nicely in frame. And it's doing a great job even when it's losing that visual line of sight, like something I mentioned before. Regardless if it loses the visual line of sight and the trees get in the way, or it can't even see my car, it's actually tracking the signal from my phone. So that means that as long as it's got that signal, it's going to continue following me. Now, when it did lose the signal, it basically popped up with a warning on the screen, and then the drone just basically sat there. Well, not sat there, it continued to hover basically in the sky, which is cool. It's cool that it just kind of kept its position. It didn't keep trying to follow me, or it didn't return to home. It just continued to hover for me. So basically what I had to do was I had to pause the following mode, and then once I resumed it again, once the signal from my GPS actually dropped back in again, and instead of just disappearing for some reason, then we were back and everything was fine. And I didn't have any issues after that initial time that it dropped out. There were a few little things where it was kind of jumpy, or like the signal, like when I reviewed the footage back, I could see that, it was a little bit jumpy, or it might have some lag or latency, or it might be a little bit pixelated because the frequency and the signal wasn't perfect. But I think that's because I'm in a vehicle. It's a metal object that's probably not the most efficient place to be sending a signal to. So that makes sense. If you are going to test this with a car in a safe environment, just keep that in mind. You need to make sure that you've actually got a clear line of sight between the controller and the drone itself so that it can have that solid signal. And also remember, you're in a car, it's metal, it's not going to do the best job of sending a signal out to a drone and then receiving that back. So just keep that in mind. Don't be flying too far away or setting the distance too far away, because you will find that it will drop out. The other thing that I noticed about the iOS version of Litchi is that for whatever reason, when you choose the heading, you actually have to choose it with a slider. So previously on the Android version, which you can see on my channel, you've got like a compass design. You've got this circle design, and it shows you exactly which way the drone is facing on a compass. It tells you north, it tells you south, west, east. It shows you on a compass exactly which way the drone's facing. Nice and visual and easy to see at a glance, which is something I love. But for whatever reason on the iOS version, it's just a slider. So you slide across and you may go to left, or you may go to leash or lead or right. And that was something that was a little bit confusing and jarring for me, because they're using different language now, the leash and the lead, as opposed to me having like a compass design that would just show me a very easy visual representation. So I tried to look through the settings, it didn't seem to pop up for me. I hope that circular compass design comes in for iOS users, but that was the only thing that was a little bit jarring and something that was different from my experience with the Android version. The Litchi application really brings forward a bunch of new features that you would not have just from the default DJI Fly application. So you get modes like waypoints, panorama, track mode, follow mode, VR mode, and focus mode. So it's a whole new playground for you Mini SE users out there, as well as the Mini 2 and the Air 2S users out there. So yes, Litchi is a paid application. I will have those links below to check it out. But if you really want to bring some more life into your drone and you want to have some more fun with it, then this is well worth your time. That following mode is just awesome. I loved seeing it in action, and it was so cool to see how well it did with my bike as well as my car when I tested it for both the Mini 2 as well as the Mini SE. So that's basically the end of the video. I would love your thoughts in the comments below. If you do pick up Litchi, I'd love to know what your experiences are like with the Mini SE or the Mini 2 or the Air 2S or any other drone that you've used Litchi with. But I would love to know how the Mini SE and the Mini 2 are going for you in particular, because those two drones, really exciting mini drones, but now with Litchi, you get all these features that you previously would not even be able to dream of. So anyway, that's the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. I'll chat to you in the next one, and peace.
It's too late now to turn around and back again. I made my bed and now I lay my head in it. And I'm sorry I'm not perfect, but I knew